What's going on, guys? It's back. I'm Tom, and I'm back with another video. All right, you know what? This is part two, okay, of the video that I just did about prepping on coming here to live in the Philippines, okay? Um, so let's talk about, you know what I didn't mention? There's one thing I missed on part one, and that's about your car, okay? Selling your car. I mean, you can't rent it. So it's either selling it or if you feel like you want to hang on to it. Now, if you have somebody that a relative, a close relative, family member, friend, really good friend, who like, you know, lets you put your car in their driveway or garage for months and months and months, then I guess and you're sort of leery about selling it, then I guess you could do that, right? At least initially, until you come to your senses and realize that you should have sold it. Uh, but you know, no, I'm just kidding. I mean, there might be some reason that when I come and if you're somebody who's going to come visit your family like frequently, you know, like twice a year or something like that, you might want to keep it. I guess, you know, especially if it's something that's not worth a lot of money anyway. If it's a used car in good condition and it's worth maybe 5,000 or something or less, you might want to do that, right? You might want to say, hey, at least when I come visit, I'll have my car, you know. And then make sure you maintain your U.S. driver's license if you're going to do that, obviously, you know. There's other good ideas for that too, though. Just, you know, you might want to do the U.S. license thing, updating it and all that for other, just for identification reasons and just for because of the frequency of going back to the U.S. or whatever, you know, that's always a good idea, you know. Especially if you're not really old, you know, like you're in your 60s or something, and you know you're still going to maybe drive in the U.S. You know, when you come back to visit and stuff like that. So that's one thing, right? Now, obviously, if you sell it, yeah, just sell it. You know, right before you leave, try and get a decent buck for it. You know, um, maybe sometimes it's worth it to sell it to a private party. You know, there's things that you can do that you can learn how to do as far as title transfer and stuff like that on your own. You know, you don't have to like sell it to a dealership, you know, and then just get a couple grand less than probably what you could have if you sold it to a private party, you know, for example, right? But that's up to you, you know, just do your due diligence, do your research on that. But anyway, the next thing I wanted to talk about is, you know, like cell phones, right? Now, when you come to the Philippines, you certainly can get like a Philippine SIM card that you can use to give you a local Philippine phone number in your Western phone. You know, whatever phone you bring here, it's likely you're going to be able to do that. As long as you can, as long as your phone has the ability to have a physical SIM card, okay, and not just a eSIM card, electronic SIM card. Okay, that's important. You know, some phones might only have electronic SIMs, you know, and not really have not even one physical SIM card slot, you know. So, but anyway, but that's up to you. But I don't know. I would advise for two-step verifications for doing your banking and just doing stuff like that in the U.S., to doing business in the U.S., to keep your phone in your U.S. phone carrier. Uh, and especially, I happen to use Google Fi, which is only like $30 and a lot of a month. Okay, and I can text. It's like unlimited texting and stuff like that. But if I make a phone call, it's long distance. Okay, even if I call the U.S. and I have a VPN on my phone that supposedly, you know, that's going to show that I'm in the U.S., it's still going to be a long distance call. And if I call somebody in the Philippines with it, it's going to be long distance, which is about 20 cents a minute, unless you have some kind of special long distance plan that's, you know, third party company or something. But, you know, you're not going to be doing that a lot, because when you communicate with your family, you really should be communicating via like Facebook Messenger for free. You know, the online social media apps, okay? WhatsApp, Google Meet. Okay. There's other ones, Viber, whatever. There's other these apps, these chat apps. That's how you should be, talking to your family members. Whether you talk just audio, you know, or whether you video chat, right? You can do both with these, or one or the other, with these apps. So that's how you should be doing it to save you money. It's absolutely free, to do that. So you're not going to want to make a regular phone call on your phone, to somebody back home because, yeah, it's going to be long distance. Like I said, I like Google Fi, and as long as you don't sort of mention it to the some customer service guy for Google Fi over the phone that you might need for something, some issue, don't mention that you're here, that you're living outside the U.S. because if you do, and you do it early on after you come here, like I did, like my dumb butt did, then they discontinued my data after 3 months. Okay. Whereas if I didn't say anything to this guy over the phone and, and they didn't really ask, you know what I mean, or whatever, then I could have probably had my data, my Google, my US Google Fi data, which is good and works in the Philippines because I've used it on trips when I came here. Before I came here to live, I had Google Fi data on my phone and it worked good, you know. But anyway, I could have probably stretched it out for almost a year if they didn't know, if I didn't sort of tell them. So I learned that lesson. I actually use a third party company now for my data. I don't have a Philippine SIM card, you know, to use their data or whatever. There's another company that I've done videos about that I've mentioned before. Um, but and they're good too. It's good data and cheap, you know. It's in Asia. It's not China either. It's another country, another Asian country where the company originates out of. Western country in Asia. But anyway, but I would recommend doing that because that two-step verification, keeping your phone number, your American phone number, your U.S. phone number, is very important for continuity, and security and stuff like that. It'll save you a lot of headaches. Just keep it this way. You could be doing banking, and when they text you that code, that you're going to punch in or whatever, they could just do it through your phone. Because I don't know if that Magic Jack stuff works with texting. You might have heard about Magic Jack and this and that, but I don't know. Personally, especially if you have a phone carrier like I do, where it's only $30 a month. You know what I mean? Why not just keep it? You know. Anyway, so that's something to consider. Banking, it depends on what you want. If you want to be able to use your ATM card from your U.S. bank in a Philippine ATM and not have to pay the transaction fees, which is about $4.50 per transaction every time you use the ATM. If you want to get those fees waived, then consider using like somebody like Charles Schwab, or I think USAA or Fidelity. Okay, there might be a few other companies out there, but there's not too many, other ones. If you don't care about that, or if you're like, well, I'm gonna just get a Philippine bank account and put all my money in there, and just have a Philippine ATM card, and that's how I'm gonna do it. Well, okay, you know, that's up to you. I would sort of keep some U.S. banking personally, but that's just me. But that's something to consider. Also, maintaining a U.S. address, okay, is a really good idea, and it's only like $8 a month. You know what I mean? $8 to $10 a month, and it's just a good idea for business, for banking, for other things. It's really a good idea to do that. There's different companies out there, iPostal one. There's a couple other ones out there. Again, just check it out, online. Make the decision yourself, and who you want to use. But I'd certainly recommend that. Um, and getting a VPN is also a good idea, virtual private network, especially it's even a good idea when you're still in the US to get to open up your account with that. Again, for continuity and stuff like that, it's just a good idea. You don't maybe you don't have to, but with a VPN, but why not do it? Again, they're not that expensive. $8 to $10 a month, that's what they cost. Also, let's see, as far as airline tickets, yeah, buy your airline ticket, try and get a good deal on it, a good price, probably do it 2 or 3 months before you come here to try and get a better deal. You could buy a round trip ticket and then you don't have to worry about an onward ticket. You could if you get a good deal on like a round trip ticket. But then, when you're here in the Philippines, you're going to have to extend your initial 30-day visa that they give you. Before that 30 days is up, you're going to have to extend it, at least 1 month. But I think you could do 2 months at a time now. But they don't do 6 months anymore, at least for now. So you're going to be extending, like, say, 2 months at a time if you're on a tourist visa, you know. So that's something. Now, if you buy a one-way ticket because maybe it's a lot cheaper for you or whatever, just make sure you get an onward ticket. And there is this company called Onward Ticket or something.com that's real cheap, like $20. And basically, if you go through them, it's like you're renting a ticket. The ticket is good for 48 hours. So if something happens, if something cancels or you get delayed, there could be an issue with that. So I don't know. I mean, what I did was I just bought a cheap one-way ticket from the Philippines to like Singapore. It was like $60, but it was an actual ticket. You know what I mean? Not like a onward ticket. That's just like rented or whatever. That's just what I did. You know what I mean? I'll pay the extra $40. Sorry, I hit my mic. I'll pay the extra $40, to to feel more secure, about it. Um, it's funny when I arrived in the Philippines to come here to live 2 years ago. They at the airport in Manila, they didn't ask for the onward ticket, but she did ask me, "When are you leaving?" And I told her, "Well, I have a ticket for like 25 days from now or something." I gave her a date. You know what I mean? And then she said, and I gave her the right date. I remembered and everything. And she goes, "Oh, okay." But she didn't actually ask to see the actual ticket, which is interesting. I think they did when I was leaving, though. When I was leaving Chicago, I think they did ask me that. I think. Maybe not. I don't know. I know they asked for the vaccine cards and all that because they were still doing that back little over 2 years ago, you know. So it's up to you, round trip ticket or one way ticket with an onward ticket, however way you want to do it, right? And I think there's one final thing I'm going to cover here, and that is if you're very close to getting your Social Security, and if you're going to need your Social Security pension to sort of be able to live here, um, do that if at all possible. Initiate that while you're in the U.S. Okay, and it doesn't have to necessarily begin. Your payments don't have to necessarily begin before you're here in the Philippines, but at least do all the stuff that you got to do. Because you can do this 3 months before you're of age, before you're 62, or whenever year you're going to take it. If you're going to do it at 67 or whatever, you could do it like 3 months in advance, initiate everything. And it can be all done online and stuff like that. You don't have to go to the office. I mean, if you want to, great, have at it. If you're just jonesing to see a federal employee face to face, do it. But if you don't need to do that, then just you can do everything online, basically. Just make sure you do that while you're still in the U.S. You know, don't. I mean, if at all possible, Do it while you're still in the U.S. Get it all set up so that it's ready to start. Your payments will begin on this month, blah, blah, blah. You're in the clear. You're done. You're just waiting. Or maybe you're already getting it. You know, you're already getting the checks, right? You could do that too. That's even better, you know. And then once your checks start kicking in, which they'll probably, and they come electronically. I mean, I don't know anybody who's still getting physical checks. You know, it's going to be like an auto deposit into the bank of your choosing that they're going to do. Okay, so yeah, just get that done before you come here. You know, believe me, it's in your best interest. So, all right, guys, that's about it. I'm done. Part 2 is complete, and I hope you got some good info out of it. And I really do appreciate you guys watching, and I hope you would like, if you like the video, feel free to comment and subscribe if you're not already doing so. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.